To get us started with linear relationships, we're going to look at some scenarios which graphically look like a straight line. And the first one is Terry earns $18 per hour. Express this as an equation and a graph. So we can go about this a couple of ways. We can do the graph first, or we can just look at what the information we're given and come up with an equation. So in this one, we'll do the graph first. We know that if Terry works for no hours, that he'll earn no money. So that will be a point for our graph. If he works 1 hour, he'll get about $18. 2 hours, 36. And 5 hours is going to be 5 tenths of 50, 5 eighths of 40. That's going to be about $90. Now, I'm not quite sure how well I've lined that up. That's what I thought, a little bit high. And then we can put a line through those points, and that's what the graph will look like. And notice that the graph is in the first quadrant because we usually only talk about a whole positive number of hours worked and earning a whole positive amount of money as opposed to negative. So the equation, well, the amount that Terry will earn will be 18 times by the number of hours that he works. So we could write that as A equals 18H. The second scenario is about a rent-a-car costing $25 a day plus 40 cents per kilometre travelled. First thing that leaps out, without even being asked what to do, is that this is in dollars and this is in cents. So let's make this into dollars, so that's $0.4 or 40. And we've been asked to express this as an equation and a graph. So this time we'll do the equation first. So the cost of the rent-a-car will be $25 plus it's 40 cents per kilometre. So it's going to be 0.4 times by the number of kilometres travelled. So for instance, if somebody travelled 100 kilometres, 100 times 0.4 is 40, and 40 plus 25 makes 60. Now, it's a little more conventional. There's nothing wrong with the way that's written, but it's a little more conventional if we put the terms the other way round. So the graph would be, if on this axis, this is the amount of kilometres that we've travelled, because what we're doing is considering the number of kilometres we'll travel and the cost will be on this axis. Now, before I mentioned something about X and Y axis, what we might do this time is we might think in our mind this is X and Y, but we might call this the distance axis, and the units are kilometres, and this is the cost axis and the units are dollars. So if we're to plot that, if we don't just rent the car for the day and don't do any kilometres, it will still be $25. On the other hand, if we go for 100 kilometres, 100 times 0.4 is 40, plus 25 is 65. So that will be approximately about here, and 200 times by 0.4 is going to be $80 as $105 all up for that one. And I've made these axes of convenient sort of lengths, which doesn't exactly happen in the real world as nicely as that. And then to draw the line, okay, once again the graph's just in the first quadrant. And the third example is about a backpacker who has $2,000 for a holiday. she spends $100 a day. Write an equation for the balance of her savings after D days. So we might be better to look at the graph first of all here. So she starts at, this is the number of days that she's been travelling, and notice we've got a D for that, and we've got an S for savings, I guess, and that will be in dollars. So at the beginning, 0 days, she will have $2,000. And it's $100 each day. Let's go 2 days at a time. So that's $200, so that will be $1,800. Another 2 days will be $1,600. And after another 2 days, $1,400 and $1,200. And after 10 days, she'll be down to $1,000. Okay, so if we keep that going, it should go like this. That's not as accurate as it should be. What I'll do is redraw that, because we know that basically her savings will last 20 days. So that's a little bit closer. So the equation, so the savings that she'll have will be 2,000, and this time the amount gets lower, so subtract, and it's $100 per day, so that's be $100 times by the number of days. And if we were to use the logic that we would like our variable first, it would be negative 100D plus 2,000.